When I was younger, a trend was something that would usually span the course of a couple of years, or at the very least, a couple of months. Now with the rise of social media, and especially TikTok, it almost seems like there's a new beauty trend every single week. And listen, I don't hate trends. I think that in many ways, they can be inspiring and help us to have fun with our makeup, and also to try something new. But there are a few key trends from the past year that I personally am ready to see meet a sweeping algorithmic demise in 2025. So in this video, let us reflect and discuss on the overrated beauty trends that need to die in 2025. The ones that we will surely laugh about or cringe over in the years to come. And make sure you stay until the end of the video, where I will reveal the #1 trend that all of you said you're ready to say bye-bye to this year. And even I was surprised. Overrated makeup trend #1. Clean girl makeup. This trend, or aesthetic I should say, has been growing in popularity, I think, ever since the pandemic. We had so many years of the heavily contoured faces, we had the full glam, full beat makeup, and 20-step eyeshadow looks. It really was only natural for the pendulum to swing in the opposite direction. And now we are seeing very simple, very natural, very clean, as we've coined it, looks across social media. And listen, I will be the first to admit, I have perpetuated this aesthetic across my own channel because I do focus a little bit more on like everyday, wearable, easy to create looks with new makeup products, so I will admit that. And as much as I do like a natural look like I'm wearing on my face today, I would like to see a little bit more individuality and creativity in 2025. Is it possible for creativity to be a trend? I don't know. Comment down below and let me know if you feel the same way. But when I look at a lot of beauty content on social media today, a lot of it looks the same. Everyone looks the same. It's like skin tint, bronzy drops, cream blush, and a lip oil. Every single look. It's starting to get boring, and I know that y'all aren't doing Pat McGrath runway looks before heading out to work for the day, and neither am I. But I kind of miss the days when the online beauty community was a source of creativity and inspiration. Like, where's the individuality? And not to mention, the clean aesthetic not only can feel a little bit boring at times, but there's also this aspect of the makeup being very perfect, very neat, very youthful. Let's stop worrying about the best spot to place our blush in 2025 or the correct way to apply concealer. We don't all need to have perfectly feathered brows and a crisp lip line. It's a lot of effort for a very simple kind of look. Do you agree with me? I'm all about balance, and in 2025, I would love to see a little bit more of a balance between these two eras, so we can get a little bit more of that everyday and easy to create, but also a little bit more of that individuality and creativity that we saw so much in like the 2016 makeup community era. And by the way, if you are enjoying this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. And if you are new here, maybe consider subscribing to my channel. My name is Sophia, and I upload new videos every single week focusing on everyday makeup and accessible luxury style. So hit that subscribe button to join our fam. We seriously would love to have you. And one final thing, which I don't know, I guess I feel obliged to say, I know we're all adults here, but if you are a fan of any of these trends, please do not let my salty self hold you back.
Don't let the haters stop you from doing your thing.
Because even if you do look back and think, oh God, what was I thinking? Because I have done this many, many times. All that matters is that you enjoyed it and felt fabulous in the moment. Because whether we like it or not, our faces and our preferences are going to change. So all that matters is that you are enjoying yourself and you feel fabulous. Okay, so this next one makes me feel a little bit nervous because I kind of feel like I can't talk about it without offending quite a few people. It is the excessive use of lip filler. I am a millennial, and I remember growing up in the Avril Lavigne era where we all had the center part, the crisply ironed hair, and the black eyeliner haphazardly applied all around the lid. You know what I'm talking about. We emulated a lot of the same aesthetics, but I don't know, let me know what you think. I still felt like we each retained our own natural beauty, our natural features. Our actual faces looked different from one another. Now, it's starting to feel like everyone on social media looks the same, with the snatched eyes, long skinny nose, and huge bloated lips. That's the look right now. And by the way, I am not judging anybody for getting cosmetic treatments. Definitely not. I get my Botox regularly. I love it. I have my eyebrows microbladed. I've done Accutane twice, and the list goes on and on. Not judging anybody whatsoever for wanting to get a treatment that makes them feel a little bit better about themselves. And you know, as we age, we do lose volume in our face, including our lips. So I also can see how someone who is, you know, maybe getting a little bit older might want to use lip filler to feel a little bit more like herself. But what gets me is when I see so many younger women wanting the same face and the same lips. I completely binge watched Love Island this year. Great show, by the way. And all the girls on that show are gorgeous. They're like your typical reality show hotties between the ages of 22 and 27, I want to say. And every single girl on that show, I hate to pick on them because they certainly entertained me a lot this summer, every single one of them has so much filler in their lips. They're already beautiful. They don't need all of that filler. Like, what else other than social media and this beauty standard that we have portrayed made them want to put that much filler into their lips? Even some of the influencers that I've been following for over a decade who were always beautiful, and I remember what their natural lips look like, I almost don't even recognize them anymore. And of course it goes without saying that it does not matter what I think. It is your face, and as long as you feel fabulous, that's all that matters. But what annoys me is that I very often get comments on my videos about the lines in my lips. These are my natural lips. I have natural creasing. It's almost like the bloated lip filler lips have become the standard, and people forget. Some of us have creases in our lips. Some of us have little wrinkles around our lips. This is normal. This is a normal part of life. Not all of our lips look the same. So I don't need to be hearing comments about how the lines in my lips are a bad thing. I've embraced them. I love them. I'll rock a matte lipstick. I feel for those people who think that they are less attractive because they have thinner lips. I was, and I guess I still am, a pasty white nerd who grew up at the Jersey Shore where everybody was tan, or at least they wanted to be. And it took me a very long time to embrace the fact that I wasn't going to fit that beauty standard. Many Hollywood hotties and historical beauties had pale skin, thin lips, downturned eyes, flat chests. We see them in museums, masterpieces, sculptures, movies, textbooks. Why not social media? So while I definitely don't judge any one person for getting a certain cosmetic treatment, I do optimistically hope that we see a little bit more of embracing and admiring natural beauty in all of its diversity in 2025. The next trend is the absence of eyeshadow. I learned in 2024 that eyeshadow is for old ladies. So I guess I'm old, at the ripe old age of 33. This kind of follows the clean girl aesthetic where very minimal application to the eyes has been the trend over the past year. Which, by the way, is kind of ironic to me because we are in a world where you can watch any video or tutorial on how to do a smoky eye or whatever you want for your eye shape, and people are like, nah, I'm good. Whereas I had to learn with written instructions, step by step in a book that my mom got me from our local Borders. Eyeshadow palettes, especially larger ones, were not popular this year. We heard Huda announce that she is no longer doing her larger palettes. Patrick Ta came out with little duos. McGrath didn't launch a mothership, and Natasha Denona came out with a lot of neutral color stories and I guess mini palettes. Every single brand is launching single shadows. And while I do have some that I really enjoy and won't abandon, I do miss the days when we would all be excited about the new Mothership or the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, when these color stories were somewhat inspiring. Not to mention, some of the single shadows are priced at what used to be the cost of a whole palette. It really does seem like this trend is driven by Gen Z and their chosen aesthetic. And not to mention, a lot of us as we get older, we also look to smaller, more manageable palettes. So the market as a whole is preferring smaller, simpler, and also more neutral. I mean, this was the most popular palette on my channel this year. But comment down below and let me know if you are out there. I feel like there's still some of you, like myself, who want something like this, or this, or this. So I remain hopeful. Some of you are gonna hate me for this, but the next trend that needs to die is blush. Too much blush, okay? On the cheeks and at the store in 2024. It was too much. The top two categories of this past year, other than fragrance, were blush and the glossy lip treatments. And I've already hammered on enough in my last few videos about the glossy bomb, so today we're gonna talk about the blush. Like I said, 'Twas a record year for this category. I'm trying to think of a mainstream brand that didn't launch a new blush range this year. And I like blush, I use it, but it got to a point where I couldn't even do a get ready with me because all I had were new blushes. Couldn't even do a full face. While it's fun to play around with new formulations, you do get to the point where it's all just so overwhelming. Comment down below and let me know if you agree. We don't need to pretend that cream blush is something new, Hailey Bieber, just because it has peptides in it. I would like to see everybody slow down and use the blushes that were already released. Help us learn which ones work best. I hope there will be a little bit of a break from the new releases personally. Also, and I'm not trying to be mean here, okay, but some people, they're putting on a lot of blush. And I mean, you do you, boo. Like I said, celebrate your creativity and your own individuality. But it does kind of seem like a lot of blush has become the norm to the point where I've been criticized in my content for not applying enough blush. I applied the YSL Lavender Liquid Blush, which I know doesn't work for all skin tones, but it looks very light and brightening and lovely on my skin tone. I got a lot of criticism about that not being pigmented enough. It really seems like the expectation is for blushes to be ultra pigmented and that a lack of pigmentation signifies a lack of quality. But that's just not true because, you know, myself and women of many different skin tones, a lot of us, we like a natural and very subtle blush, something that suits our skin tone. I'm just applying the blush as I would in real life. I have a very fair complexion, so it's like, how much blush do you want me to apply before I start looking like a clown? We've become so obsessed with blush in this community, we don't need to lecture people about how much they are applying or the right way to do it. Clean beauty reformulations. Don't get me started. We all know by now about the Givenchy Prism Libre, however you pronounce it, the Prism Libre fiasco. This is not the first time that a brand has reformulated one of their bestsellers to accommodate the clean beauty trend, but it definitely was the most dramatic in 2024. By the way, if you missed it, Givenchy reformulated their iconic Prism Libre loose powder by removing the talc, a questionable ingredient that some consumers choose to avoid and, more importantly, has landed many brands in major lawsuits. Longtime powder lovers were outraged on social media when they realized that the new and improved Prism Libre powder was in fact shiny and very, very different from the original. Another culprit of these clean beauty reformulations is Dior. Dior Beauty is one of my favorite makeup brands, but as I discussed in my recent video, the 5 best and worst products at Dior, they have recently ruined some of their best products like the Backstage Rosy Glow blushes and their eyeshadow palettes due to talc reformulations. And listen, I'm not saying that we shouldn't try to remove the talc or other potentially harmful ingredients from our makeup. I'm saying stop making bad, clean makeup. Stop ruining things that we are giving you money for. Stop taking the luxury out of these very expensive products. And for gosh sakes, Dior, find a way to make an eyeshadow palette with a shelf life of more than 6 months. No one is finishing this in 6 months. If you're doing this right, I shouldn't even know that this is a trend. Peel off lip liners. Just when I feel like I have seen it all, I am bombarded with image after image of girls peeling off dark purple sludge from around their lips to reveal what is a very faint tint around the mouth. And just in case you're like, wait, what? Let me explain. These are basically lip stains that you paint onto the lips, then you let them dry for like a minute or two, and then when you peel them off, you have a little bit of a tinted stain on your lips. And for the record, I actually kind of like the contoured lip trend that's going on right now. It feels very old school, so I'm not bashing that. What I'm trying to say is that, well, number one, this feels very gimmicky, and number two, like, too much work. I want to know why. In the year 2025, we cannot just make this a product that like goes on thinly and dries in the tint. Why does it need to be peeled off in that manner? Is it for social media appeal, perhaps? And I can understand the appeal of the longevity because like it's a stain, but if you pay attention to the demos, the end result never looks completely clean. I remember I received some of these in PR and they were not marketed as lip liners. I could be wrong. The ones that I got were not marketed as lip liners. In fact, I think that whomever came up with this trend is a complete godsend for these brands, because if you use this all over the lips, it's never even. It always looks patchy. You always see the influencer adding a shiny and blurring top coat afterwards to finish the look, to kind of like hide the fact that it's pretty patchy. Somebody had the brilliant marketing idea to use this just as a liner, which is a little bit more novel, I will say, and it's also, like I said, it's less noticeable. Let me know what you think. Are you a fan of this trend? Is Gen Z going to look back on this like we do, you know, roll-on body glitter, or the Remington wet to straight, or the Jessica Simpson dessert treats lickable body butter complete with sprinkles? I would love to know. I have to be honest, I wasn't really sure what to call this next trend, so I'm gonna call it the mainstreamification of makeup artist brands. I'm talking like Pat McGrath, Natasha Denona, and Charlotte Tilbury, just to name a few. And here, okay, like it's not really the trend that's overrated, it's more so the brands themselves. We've sort of seen this happen in the past with brands like Urban Decay. They used to be known for really cool, really unique, really fun makeup. Then they came out with the naked palettes. We all remember that moment. And while those were immensely popular, I mean, I still have some of mine for nostalgic purposes, I kind of feel like that was the beginning of the end. These brands get a taste of that mainstream moolah, and then they just run with one concept like Pillow Talk or Divine Rose, and they shove it down our throats to the point where they kind of lose themselves and their brand ethos in the process. And while I have complained here on my channel in the past about the declining quality and lack of originality from those brands that I mentioned earlier, I really feel like 2024 took those feelings to a whole new level where I really didn't even pay much attention to anything that they were launching. Pat McGrath did not launch a mothership palette this year. In fact, I don't think I purchased a single thing from her brand in 2024. And in fact, we just heard rumors that her brand is no longer going to be sold in store at Sephora in 2025. I hate to say it, but like, the makeup just doesn't feel special anymore, and in many cases, it doesn't feel luxurious anymore. Natasha Denona mostly launched a slew of neutral and mini palettes this year, and a lot of creators are commenting on the slowly increasing prices and decreasing quality of the shadows, and I have to agree. Charlotte Tilbury didn't launch a single thing this year that was worth raving about. And don't even get me started on the stinky mood-boosting fragrances again. That was for another video. I'm not completely giving up on these brands. They still have some classic products that I really like, but what I can only imagine is the pressure from investors to drive sales volume in a weak economy is sadly pushing these brands into irrelevancy and diminishing what made them special in the first place. Also, shout out to Danessa Myricks, by the way. She has been able to find a really good balance between her product lines to offer the consumer both wearable, everyday products with innovative formulas, but also really good, fun, artistic makeup as well. And I'd be willing to bet that it's probably because, at least according to my Googling, she is still completely self-funded. The next trend that I want to die is underconsumption core. In 2024, we saw the rise of hashtag underconsumption core. And the idea of this is to only purchase the products that you really need, and also to use up the things that you have before purchasing new ones. This has been a direct reaction to what has become an extreme culture of pushing products and what many would call overconsumption across primarily short-form social media. And if you know me, I'm not against responsible consumption. While I do feature a lot of products here on my channel, my goal is always to help you understand if it's something that you will enjoy, if it is actually worth adding to your wish list so you don't waste your money. What I'm tired of is making underconsumption a trend. Because for many people, this is just normal life. Like having all of your makeup fit in only a little makeup bag, using just a few skincare products in your everyday routine, maybe, you know, taking your worn out shoes to the cobbler to have them repaired instead of buying new ones. This trend, to me, almost comes across as being a bit boastful, like, oh, look at me, I'm so responsible with my consumption. Like, okay, cool, would you like me to mail you a sticker for acting like a responsible adult? It feels like a ploy to get attention for like a very mundane practice. I guess for this trend, the pendulum just swung a little bit too far for me. I think that we can find a happy medium where we live within our means, but we also budget responsibly for the things that we love without posting it all over social media. Next up, we have the extreme pushing of cheap dupes. Some influencers, as I just mentioned, chose to respond to the cost of living crisis with underconsumption core. Others chose to take advantage of this phenomenon by focusing their product pushing on cheap dupes. And I am not here to judge anybody for wanting to find an affordable product that meets their needs. That's not what this is about. The prices keep going up on things, and it is definitely harder to find anything that feels reasonably priced these days. I totally get it. But it really did feel like in 2024, and this is on TikTok specifically, that these economic anxieties were very much taken advantage of through the incessant pushing of cheap dupes in the TikTok shop. The one that really hit my feed the hardest was the $11 brush set. The brushes that look just like the Hourglass Cosmetics brushes. If you're on TikTok, you probably know which ones I'm talking about. I could not get away from these videos promoting this stupid set. It didn't matter how many times I swiped away, it was always one of the next videos in my feed. And I'm not stupid enough to think that cheap dupes are going away. There has always been those like affordable alternatives that you spot at the dollar store, like on Amazon or whatever, that look uncannily similar to the viral products. I am also not here to judge people for buying these dupes. I've never tried these brushes. Maybe they're good. I'm sure some people really enjoy them, although I have to think that there's gotta be a catch here, whether it be the materials used or maybe potentially questionable labor practices, but that is a discussion for another video. What I am annoyed by is this clear algorithmic preference to push questionably cheap products in the TikTok shop to drive sales. And then the influencers latch on to those products because they realize that those are the ones that TikTok is pushing for their own monetary benefit, especially towards the end of 2024 because they knew that they might be banned in just a few short weeks. And for legal purposes, I will mention that all of this is my opinion, just from my own experience, not rooted in any truth or fact. It all starts to feel very disingenuous to me. What is often presented as smart shopping is really, at the end of the day, many times, just more consumption of things we don't need. And I have to wonder if influencers will be talking about how much they love these brushes a year from now, 2 years from now. I'm curious to see how they hold up, if they truly are as good as they say. Or are they just another overrated trend in an effort to earn short-term profits? And now it is time for me to reveal the #1 overrated trend that y'all are done with this year. I did ask my subscribers here on the YouTube community board, what overrated trend do you want to see die in 2025? And the responses were very entertaining. Some of the top contenders were fake freckles, we had laminated brows, naming everything like Tomato Girl and Blueberry Milk nails, we had red eyeshadow, pH adjusting makeup, and so much more. But none of them got the same response as huge, over-the-top fake lashes. I was actually kind of surprised by this. I thought the more minimal look was on trend, but I mean, what do I know? I'm just filming videos at home with my cat all day. I think that a lot of people are doing less eyeshadow, but then I suppose more lashes and lash extensions as a result of that. And I kind of feel about this trend the same way I feel about the lip filler. If you like the way you look with over-the-top fake lashes, go for it.
You go, Glen Coco.
It does seem like a lot of the backlash comes from the everyday use of quite over-the-top styles. And I mean, the good thing is you can easily take these off at the end of the day if you change your mind or want a different aesthetic, unlike fillers or cosmetic procedures. Do you remember the foxy eye surgery that everybody wanted like 2 years ago? Comment down below, do you see this trend in your day-to-day? Do you wish it would go away? And if I missed anything, what is the trend that you want to see die in 2025? There are literally so many more trends that we could discuss, so I invite you to watch another one of my videos. Up next, we have the top 10 overhyped beauty must-haves of 2024. I'll see you there.